How, Rayne?
Nothing much. How are you guys?
Good, man.
We're good. We're good. Are you excited? This is Grants. We were just talking.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited. I'm ready for it. Oh, yes, sir.
Hell yeah. So we're going to jump right into this. Basically, we're just doing a podcast, trying to get some recognition to you guys out there and just giving back to the sport.
Sweet.
So we're just going to ask some questions, be all over the place. Anything you don't feel like answering, no worries. We can edit it out. But so far, we're batting 1,000.
Cool.
Letting it run and just drop it.
Absolutely.
So is this your first Grants as a pro?
Yes, sir, it is. Last year I was racing in 17 to 20. So this is my rookie year. So, yep, first Grands as a pro. Yes, sir.
Are you nervous?
Honestly, normally I'm pretty nervous for the Grands. This year, not so much, honestly. I don't know if it's just because I don't have as many expectations going into the Grands. Normally you're battling for nag points and everything. Now I'm kind of just going in swinging and seeing what happens, you know. We're going to be fighting every lap. I know it's not going to be easy, obviously. So, yeah, I'm just going in and doing what I can do.
Okay, yeah. Okay. One question towards that, too. So what's the difference between – because I was looking at a couple of races. So what's the difference between you racing under 23 versus you racing like the pro class? Or is that the same thing?
No, it's different. So the under 23 class, that is mainly for UCI and everything. So like at the USA BMX Nationals on Friday and Saturday, we'll race just men pro, which is 17 and up. So it could be as far as for UCI classifications, that can be for junior men, under 23, or elite. And so basically just any pro categorized rider is in men pro. And then for the Sunday races at the Nationals, we'll race our UCI class, which for me is under 23. So,
okay.
Yes, sir.
So how old are you?
I just turned 21 in October. So.
Okay. And you turned pro at 20?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay.
Raced all 4 years of 17, 20. And then once I couldn't race it at the Grands anymore, decided to make the move up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how old were you when you first started racing?
I was 6 years old when I first started racing, and I started at 6 years old, and we started, I believe, in September, and then my birthday's in October, so quickly turned 7. So I've been doing it for about 13 years now. So,
what kind of bike did you start on?
Was it a Redline Flight? Do you know what my first bike was?
It was Redline. I think it may have been the Bubba Harris edition, but it was a Flight.
Yeah, my pop says it was the Bubba Harris edition Redline. So
yeah, okay,
pretty cool.
Yeah, I had one of those. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And what do you ride? Go ahead.
No, go.
What do you ride now?
Right now, I'm on DK Professional X.
Okay.
Yes,
is that the team you ride for?
So I'm not on the DK team, but I would consider them a sponsor, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So how has your whole year been since turning pro?
Honestly, this year, it's been pretty good, I'd say. I've raced basically as much as I possibly could have, I felt like. I've done every race I felt like I was capable of. I did a lot of the Florida State Series races. I did every USA BMX Pro Series stop except for there's 2 that I didn't do. I didn't do the Salt Lake race or Bakersfield. And then I went and I raced the World Cup races in Colombia that were in the last weekend in September and first weekend in October. And so, yeah, I've been just racing as much as I can and, yeah, trying to get my face out there and enjoying it.
How different would you say the competition is since you've turned pro, though? Is it more tighter, organized, more in line? You feel like?
So I would say it's definitely a lot more stacked, obviously. Like, the competition is way harder. The dudes are way faster. However, I'd say, like, racing 1720 last year, it was a bit more, like, cutthroat. I would kind of compare it to, like, college football compared to, like, the NFL, you know? And, yeah, kind of 1720 are the dudes that are really trying to make it into the next level of pro. And once you're racing pro, guys kind of have a little bit more respect, I guess you could say. And they're not trying to crash every lap, as in 1720. They'll blast you for third place in the semi. You know what I mean? So it's
right.
Yeah. Just kind of a different level of respect, I'd say.
So, what is the ultimate goal in BMX?
Do what? Sorry.
What is your ultimate goal?
My opening goal?
Ultimate goal.
I'm sorry?
Where do you see yourself in maybe 5 or 10 years in BMX?
Oh, man. Obviously, I would love to make it to the Olympics. Like that's the top level, right? So I would love to be able to do that. I know 24 would be kind of a tough and difficult goal, but I don't see it out of the picture necessarily. The Olympic points just started with this last World Cup that I was talking about in Bogota, Colombia, that I raced. However, I would love to definitely go for it in 28, and even the 32 Olympics, I'll only be 30 going on 31 that year, which nowadays is a pretty reasonable age within our sport. There's dudes that are racing, like Joris Daudet is, I think, 31 years old this year, I believe. Mm-hmm. So, and he's up for the USA BMX title this year at the Grands. So it's definitely not out of reach, I feel. So that, yeah. And then I will say as well, I'd love to, a goal of mine is to make a living within the sport once I'm finished racing as well. So because I love it so much, and I would love to be able to hang around and make it my world even once I'm not, competing and racing anymore. So, yep.
Okay. So what do you do in your downtime when you're not racing or thinking about BMX?
Man, figure out how to do BMX better, I guess. There's really not much downtime outside of BMX, I feel like, even like, so I graduated high school in 2020, the year of COVID. Right. And then since then, I kind of unintentionally ended up moving down to Florida. And I've been there ever since. And so when I'm not training for racing, I'm coaching basically to be able to pay for staying in Florida to race. And so, yeah, basically my entire life right now is BMX, but I love it and I wouldn't have it any other way. And I'm just riding it. So yeah.
So why did you choose Florida?
I didn't even really choose Florida. Florida kind of chose me, I felt like. So the story kind of behind that is I wasn't really training much, I'd say. Like in 2020, I was racing 1720 at the time, and I wasn't training. I was kind of just racing and letting my natural ability kind of take me as far as it could. And so I was teammates with Josh McLean at the time. I don't know if you all know him. So, and we were at a race, I believe, in South Dakota, because during the year of COVID, they were kind of just throwing those nationals wherever they could or whatever. And so we were out there, and I believe the next race was Rock Hill, and he invited me for after that race to come and stay and train with him in Florida. And so I took him up on that offer, and after the Rock Hill race, I ended up in Florida. And in that time, I was actually training and getting faster, and I saw myself progressing. And I was only staying with him until they had a race at the Port Charlotte track in Florida that October. I believe it was the last national before the Grands. And within that time, while I was there, I met Tyler Klumper, which was another pro living down in Florida. And so after that race, I asked Tyler if I could stay with him until the Grands that year, because I was training and everything. And so then I was staying with Tyler until the Grands that year. And during that time, I actually met Domingos Lamoglia, and started training with him and really started progressing and everything. And then, anyway, long story short, after the Grands that year, I found myself back in Tyler's minivan headed to Florida, and never really left. And now I'm living on the Acre Farms with Will Grant and Jeremy Smith, and I've been in Florida now for over 2 years. So, pretty crazy how things worked out.
How'd you How'd you place some grands that year? Because hearing the build up, I'm wondering how'd you do.
I think I got semi'd. I never made a main in 1720 at the Grands.
Okay.
Honestly, just wasn't very fortunate with it, but
This will be your year, brother.
Yeah, I'm hoping for it. Yes, sir.
So where are you from originally?
So I'm in my hometown right now. I'm from Houston, Texas, born and raised. Okay. And my whole family still lives here. My mom, my dad, my brother, my sister. And, so my whole family will be going up to the Grand. So I flew in last Thursday, and I've been hanging out here, kind of doing my final preparations. And then we'll be headed up to Tulsa tomorrow evening. So
Okay, cool.
Does anybody else in your family race?
Not anymore, but at one point, me, my dad, my brother, and my sister all raced. My dad actually raced.
Oh, that's nice.
All the way until 2019, I believe, and he was doing pretty good in like the 41, 45 cruiser class. Like he got a nag plate that year,
dude, that's a beast right there.
Yeah, he was doing good, and he got a job for the railroad actually, and so now he's on call constantly, and he just doesn't have the time to race anymore. But he says that for his goal one day, or his dream one day, is to have 3 generations racing at the Grands. So, so he wants to come back and race the old man cruiser class.
That's awesome.
Okay. So when you're not riding or racing, where can people most likely find you?
Recently, I'd say at the Acre Farms. That's where I've been spending most of my downtime recently, which that's in Mayaca City, Florida, which is a small town that is east of Bradenton. So yeah. Like I said, I don't really have much downtime from BMX right now. So
right.
But I'm enjoying it how it is. So yes, sir.
All right. So I like to always ask another question too, just randomly. Music. What type of music are you into?
Well, I listen to a wide variety of things, but honestly, my go-to is reggae. I'll say, I love it, but I'm always down for some rock and roll. Like I was raised a BMX kid, so can't get away from that. And then obviously, I like some rap, but it's not my main thing. I listen to a lot of different stuff. I really don't know what to pinpoint,
Right. See, I was saying, because me and Shannon were talking about this one time, that we grew up in a generation where you would hear rap, country. Yeah, you hear everything all on one radio station. They just play everything.
Yeah.
Now everything's just so specific to where it's like, this is the rap station, this is the hip-hop station, this is the heavy metal station, this is the 80s station. So we're just kind of like, man, people don't get the variety that we grew up with to where you can just like all types of music.
Yeah, absolutely. I do listen to quite a bit of country, honestly, just because I was born and raised in Texas, But, I was pretty fortunate that my parents kind of raised me on just a wide variety of music, honestly. It's, I consider it a big part of my life, honestly, So, yes, sir.
So who's your favorite musician then?
I would say a band called Revolution. I don't know if you've heard of them, but I've seen them twice live, and they're just a reggae band out of California, but they've kind of always been my favorite, and that's just my go-to. So
nice. So is that what you're listening to get yourself pumped up for the race?
Sometimes it really depends on how I'm feeling the day of. I'd say for the Grands, a lot of the times, like I was saying, I've been kind of nervous in previous years and everything. So I have listened to quite a bit of reggae on race days, kind of just to keep my energy up, but keep my head level and clear, not to get too amped up or anything, but kind of just, chilled. So
that's my go-to also, man. If I'm driving and I'm stressed out, I play some reggae, bro. All my worries are gone.
Yes, sir. Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
Name one of your favorite tracks. If you had one track to choose that you would just ride forever, which track would that be?
Oh,
goodness.
No.
I've ridden Tampa BMX over the last 2 years quite a bit, and that track really doesn't seem to get old. You know, it's just a flat hill track, and honestly, like there's nothing like spectacular to it, but there's just something special to it, and yeah, I just can't go wrong with that place. But
okay,
my bad. There we go.
Yeah.
I'm like, it kicked me out. I didn't know what was going on. All right, go ahead.
Oh no, but I was just saying, if there was a go-to track, that it would definitely probably be Tampa BMX right now. I love riding Sarasota as well, though. That's the closest track to where I'm living right now. And as far as like going and ripping some big hill efforts or just riding big jumps, Sarasota is a great go-to as well. And then if we're talking Texas BMX, because I got to give a shout out to where I'm from and everything. Definitely. So Pearland BMX was my home track. It's a very grassroots style track, flat hill, you know, kind of mom and pop style track, all hand done and everything. And then DeSoto BMX as well. I feel like it's kind of a legendary spot. I don't know if y'all know my boy Chris Allen out there at DeSoto BMX, but they got the big top and everything. It's a covered track and it's a great facility, and they changed the track layout quite often, and yeah, it's a great track. It always gives a bit of a variety, and yeah.
I'm guessing.
Yes, sir.
Have you had a chance to race the new track in Tulsa?
Yeah, so I went there for the national and our national champs earlier this year. And it was a great facility. The track is pretty cool. It's really long, honestly, but it was pretty. Yeah. Man, that rhythm section was long. It's pretty technical too, but it's got a nice flow to it, and you definitely got to be on your toes to ride it. So I dig it.
That's pretty dope.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
What's your favorite movie?
Oof, man. Can I just say rad? Because, you know, BMX.
There we go.
Yeah,
I always tell people when they go, "What's your favorite BMX movie?" I go, "Pee Wee Herman's." And then like, it's not even a BMX movie. I'm like, "What's a BMX in there?" You know, it's all about the love of his bike and how he chased it. It's a love story.
Yeah,
but everybody's like,
I don't know.
Rad.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all heard of Rebel Run Sports Camp. They're not around anymore, but it was a sports camp that was out of like Conroe, Texas, and it was ran by Travis Postany and Lee Lewis. But then I was kind of like a camper / worker there, and I kind of like stayed with the kids in the bunkhouse and everything, and kind of just watched them at night or whatever. But Rad was like one of the only DVDs that we had there, and so like, and there was like a new group of kids every week, so like somebody hadn't seen Rad, you know, and so we would always throw it on, and so I've seen it a million times. But yeah, it's a good one for sure.
Okay.
It's so cool that the younger kids got into that movie this many years later after it was created. That blows my mind. Sure. It really does.
Yeah, I mean, I was. Like, my parents were children, you know, when that came out. So it wasn't even, you know, it's pretty cool.
Right. So how did you, I don't know if it was asked or I missed it. How did you find your way to BMX?
So my brother and my dad were racing motocross when I was a baby, probably like 3-4 years old. And my dad owned his own like lawn maintenance business at the time, and so he was making good money and everything. And in the recession in like 2008-9 time, I believe, or whatever, so he lost his business, and we weren't able to continue to race motocross because, you know, it's pretty expensive, especially when you've got 3, 4, 5 bikes or whatever. And so right next to the motocross track that we were racing at was Armadillo Downs BMX, which is in Conroe, Texas as well. And so it's literally right next door to the motocross track. And so one night after being at the motocross track, we went over and we watched like a local race or whatever at the BMX track. Right. And long story short, ended up selling all of our motorcycles to getting everybody a BMX bike and never looked back. Get out of here. So, yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's the first time I've heard that story. It's usually the other way around.
Yeah,
Most
for
guys
sure.
start riding BMX, and then when I was a kid, there was a motocross track right next door to us. So we used, in between motos, we would go over there. Little by little, kids would go buy a dirt bike, end up quitting BMX, racing dirt bikes, man.
Right. Well, I mean, I probably would have been like, you mean I ain't got a pedal no more?
Yeah.
Do you have a hidden talent?
Ooh.
Can you play any music? Can you play any musical instruments?
Not well, no. Man, I don't know. That's kind of a hard one.
Other sports?
Not really. I mean, I played several other sports growing up.
Okay.
Like I played, fair share of baseball. I played football in high school.
Okay.
But yeah, BMX was the only one that ever really stuck around. I did that through all of them. But
nice.
So yeah, I'll have to think about that, and maybe I'll come back to you on it.
There we go.
Yes, sir.
So with this Grands being the first time you're doing it and as a pro, do you already have like a layout of how you see your setup going into it? Like, do you prepare differently for this event than a national?
Honestly, no. Really, I've prepared for this race kind of the same as just every other race I have this year. It's not like I'm doing some special preparation for the Grands. I'm trying to race as fast as I possibly can at every race,
Right.
So, I mean, maybe my mental state's a bit different. Obviously, I want to perform going into this Grands. Like, I'm up for the Rookie Pro of the Year, Golden Crank, and all of that. And, like, I want to, show out. So, I definitely feel like I'm in a good state of mind going into it. But as far as, like, my physical training and everything, I mean, it's just routine at this point, like, just not going through the motions, but definitely making sure I get the work done. So,
Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Shannon?
I really don't have anything else, man. I'm not even sure what to say, bro.
So with your training, how often do you train? A week.
I say on average, normally it's 6 days a week, and then I'll have one rest day. So, and that'll vary from like 2 to 3 track sessions, or 2 to 3 sprint sessions, or 2 to 3 gym sessions, and whatever it might be on the week preparing for the race, or what day I'm planning on racing on. Like for this week, we're racing on Thursday and Friday, so like the preparation was a bit different, kind of leading up to it. And for the Grands, I will say the preparation might be a little bit different because, like in previous years, we've prepared like kind of almost doing like 2-a-days type training, because that's how like the Friday night format will go. Like we'll race our motos in the morning and everything, and then have a break throughout the day, and then hopefully be racing Friday night and the Pro Spectacular and everything. And so yeah, we've definitely done that with DL before, and had a track session in the morning, and then went and all had lunch, and then came back for a track session in the evening, Not to give out any secret training tips or nothing, but just kind of training how we're going to race, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And yes, sir.
So what's your setup right now? Like what's your gear ratio right now?
So I'm not too secretive about any of that stuff, but so actually I dropped it down for the Grands this year. DL was wanted me to do that because I ride a pretty heavy gear. Like for the big hill races and everything, I was on a 44.2 16 with the 7.5 back tire. Okay. And so, that's pretty big, I feel like. And then now I'm on a 43.7 16 with the 7.5 back tire. So
is it because you're indoors and the track is shorter? Like what made you decide to want to switch it up?
Pretty much. I believe that's really it. Short first straight, got to get to that first turn as quick as we can, and really just top end quick. So yes, sir.
Okay. That makes sense. So is that something?
Yeah.
So would that be the same kind of gearing you would run if you were at Blue Ridge?
I'd say so. Yes, sir. Yeah, like I don't know if you've ever been to the Daytona BMX track.
No, I have not.
It's a super short first straight. Honestly, very similar to like what the Grands layout is. But we had a state race there just before, just a couple weeks ago. But anyway, so we kind of had like a test run for that. And that was my first time running this gear. And so, yeah. Short first straight, little gear.
Okay. Why no?
Sure.
Why does it look? Every time I look online, I always see Florida's always doing the state series. How can they have so many state series?
It's pretty cool, honestly. It's kind of one of the main reasons why I love racing in Florida so much. But so their state series starts in November and goes until May. So they do all the pretty months in Florida because the summer is really the wet season there, and it rains almost every afternoon during the summer in Florida, which is kind of crazy. But so yeah, like we raced the first weekend in November, I believe, and then like right after the Grands on like the second week in December, we have another state race, and then basically there's 1 to 2 every month until May, and then there's the finals. So like growing up in Texas, we always started our state series just like every other state in January or February or whatever, and we end in like September, August time.
Right.
And but yeah, because I believe Florida, they already had a different state series set up when they were still NBL. They were the SSA was their state series,
right.
And yeah, they're kind of almost their own little sanctioning body, and so they already kind of had that set up going, I guess. Whenever, yeah.
What's your go-to food that you can eat all day long, anytime?
Man, spaghetti and meatballs. Yes, sir. I think my mom actually made that tonight, so that was kind of on my mind. But yeah,
nice.
Yes, sir. Yeah, but just kind of a young 20-year-old kid. I make pasta a lot because I'm out of the house for the first time. It's easy, and so yes, sir.
Oh, my kids are definitely already sick of it because I grew up always making it, and so that was always the easy one. They're just like, Dad, I'm tired of either spaghetti or you getting that $5 pizza. And I'm just like,
hey, man, that $5 pizza is good too, though.
Right? That's what I try to tell them. But they're like, Dad, you want to eat pizza every week? And I'm like, because it's $5. That's why I do it. But, all right. So that's basically all that I got. You said you were good, Shannon, or?
No, I have something else. How tall are you?
I am right at 6 foot. I don't want to say I'm 6'1", but I'm definitely not 5'11".
All right, because I watched the race of yours, and for some reason you just look smaller than some of the other riders. So really? I thought you might have been a little shorter and smaller. And I'm always trying to get tips as a shorter, smaller rider on how to deal with some of the bigger guys.
Yeah, hey, some of the shorter guys are a lot of the times the quicker and scrappier dudes. Like if you go look at like David Herman back in the day, he's super short and scrappy dude. Donnie Robinson, obviously, and. But yeah, no, I'm right at 6 foot. I would say like the jerseys and stuff and pants, obviously, that I'm wearing have been a bit baggier this year, so maybe that's the reasoning behind it. But yes, sir, yeah.
Who are the pros that you used to watch growing up?
Oh, the first one that comes right into my head is Kyle Bennett, just because he's a Texas boy. He actually used to coach me and stuff like at the local track growing up. We used to do like Tuesday night like training sessions, and he would coach us and everything. And Armadillo Downs BMX, the track that I was telling you guys that I started at, actually at the end of his life, he was the current track operator at the time. So I got to kind of watch and idolize him at the time. Another one that comes into my head is Leah Lewis that I was saying. Actually, I worked for him a couple years back and everything, but yeah, I've always idolized him as well. He's got a flow kind of like no other on a bike, and he's actually another one of the shorter, scrappier guys. But yeah, that dude can battle on a bike, and he knows how to ride for sure. So
out of all the pros that you know of in your head, in their prime, who would you want to race against?
Ooh, man, I mean, I would love to race against Kyle just because obviously, you'll never get the chance to, and somebody that I idolized. But I would have loved to line up in the gate with Connor Fields as well, obviously, because I never got the chance to, just being the fact that his injury this last year and everything. And another one, which is actually one of my good friends who also kind of had a somewhat of a career-ending injury, and I never got to race in pro, but luckily I did in 1720, was Riley House. So... yes, sir.
I'm hoping he comes back. I'm hoping he comes back.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So what about amateurs? Are there any amateurs that you know about that are up and coming?
Yeah, there's definitely a few. Down in Florida, like this time of year, there's been several that have came to train like for the Grands and everything. Like one being Brandon Crane was there. He's a California boy, but I got to race him in 1720 for a couple years. He's a couple years younger than I am, so we weren't in the class at the same time for the whole time or anything. But obviously, Cedric Cade is another one that I think is going to be making a showing in the pro class in the next year or two. Drew Polk is somebody that I've had my fair share of battles with that hasn't completely made the transition to pro yet because I think he's still looking for maybe a national title or something in the amateur classes. But I've had my fair share of battles with him in the under 23 class and 1720. And yeah, those are a few that come to mind. So,
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's everything that I got. Are you good, Sharon?
I'm good. Thank you, Rayne.
Thank you for your time.
Of course.
It'll probably be about a week before we put it on, and I'll have everything edited out, and I'll send